The piece I'm going to show you next is how I carefully define the components of a high-performance building. And we know that building a very tight enclosure is important. You see the picture on the far right, that represents a product called a blower door. It's been around for almost 25 years, but it's a device that they put in the house, turn it on, and it calculates the size of the hole in the house. So when they get done, they say, is the hole in your house when the wind's blowing this big, or the size of a patio door open all year? And then they take that information, put it into the heating calculations and say, we've been able to make your furnace half the size it would have been, and your energy bills will be this impressive. So how we're sealing using foams and insulations all over the show, you'll see an improvement in performance. We see things like improved insulation systems, as I just mentioned, that are showing that foams and blown-in insulations are making a substantial improvement in energy efficiency. No longer are we seeing fiberglass bats smashed in the walls. We're seeing a much significant improvement in how energy efficient and more comfortable the buildings are. Durability, about the management of rain and how important it is that houses don't get moldy, that they don't fail, that they don't have premature problems, and demonstrating these features. The performance of windows and how important it is that they perform the way they should perform, that they reduce the amount of fabric fading. You know, really in the last 60 years, there hasn't been a lot of innovation in just two panes of glass. But the window companies have learned how to put certain coatings, special gases within that window to make it improved and improve its performance. We're looking at heating and cooling systems that are 94% efficient at using gas and significantly more efficient at cooling buildings. And how can we improve these features? Because what we forget about is making these decisions today means it's going to be in the house for the next 15 or 20 years. So we want buyers to understand that picking an Energy Star appliance, an Energy Star feature today is the best choice they can make for the future. When you look at the importance of appliances and understand, imagine things that are using 60% less energy and less water, and how impressive that is and how important it is. But if I make this decision today, future people and future generations and in cities will benefit from that. When I go to sell my house 5 years from now, will those features be a selling feature? They're going to be something that people are interested in. Did you know that these appliances are going to make this kind of impact? So we have to make sure that they're important. We also look at the lifestyle, at what it's like to be in a house that has these features, the ergonomics of the washing equipment, how this whole room suddenly feels much better about participating in this aspect. We also have discussed the water efficiency. You know, less than 1% of the water on the planet is drinkable. So how do we manage that and take responsibility for it? And as you look around here, you're going to see signage around here that demonstrates the use of water and how amazing it is. Actually, Whirlpool is significantly ahead of almost any manufacturer there is about managing water and doing a better job with it. Smaller amount of water cleans better and is really lowering its impact. We also see things, how many of you ever seen the lawns being sprinkled while it's raining? And we're learning how that's pretty important to not do that. Imagine spending city municipal money to filter the water so we can put on the lawn while it rains. They find out that there's little sensors for $50 that are wireless. And they tell the sprinkler system, you don't need to run today, it just got done raining. The impact of having 300 million people in the country, 80 million houses, makes a big difference. We're also seeing site planning and layout, the idea about orienting the house so it makes sure it benefits from the solar exposure. Have you ever seen a community where a house is laid out and the southern exposure has no windows or there's nothing but a garage right there? And we're trying to get developers to do a better job of laying out their communities. We found projects where they took the same amount of land, the same goal of number of houses, and by realigning the streets, got the houses to face a little bit more so that the houses were ready for solar in the future. You'll see at the show there's companies that are creating solar-ready houses that allow you to put solar on in the future if that becomes an option. Preparing for that is an important thing that we do that the first time. Finally, we also look at the materials and where they've come from. How do we know which materials are more resource efficient? How do we make those decisions about the proximity at which those materials come from? Have they come from across the country, across the world, or from my local community? We, in the end, think also about renewables. And the idea about solar, the house that you see on the right is the builder. It happens to be in Bend, Oregon. And what's interesting about this is, of course, it's hooked up to the meter. There's no batteries for storage. Everything is quite straightforward. And what it does, it runs the meter in which direction? Backwards. And you should see the people come into the model home and they go, hey, this is all really cool, but can I see the meter going backwards? And they're attracted right to it. They look at that and go, I'd like that. And it's quite interesting to see how this is being done. Now, we know that there's states all across the nation offering discounts and rebates for houses that have that. But the idea of preparing for an economy that looks at wind and photovoltaics and solar is an opportunity that we all should be considering.